Do you think that if we create a good sales letter for the Brazilian market in the Stefan Georgi style, like a very good mechanism, a very good lead, do you think that's actually a very big opportunity to do that? Or you think that because the market is not that sophisticated, it's better to just go with a normal approach and just like a benefit oriented copy or something like that?
It's hard to answer that definitively without knowing the market really intimately, which I don't. I would imagine that a more full-on sales letter would do quite well. I think the short answer is always going to be to test it, but I would imagine, because even in the US, you constantly have people going, oh, long sales letters don't work anymore, and people have short attention spans, and there's constantly trying to get away from longer format sales copy, and yet it just keeps working better than everything else across the board. There's always exceptions. Someone might have a short thing that does well, but generally long form stuff just still remains the king. And so for the Brazilian market, I would imagine it's similar. There's data points you'd have to look at. For example, what percentage of people in the market within Brazil that you're targeting are going to consume on a cell phone versus a computer? I would guess cell phones are really high. I would guess it's a lot of mobile.
Yeah.
So, for that reason, maybe the VSL would need to be shorter, or you need to make sure that it's very much optimized for mobile. Or maybe a text sales letter would be better, because like historically for me, text sales letters have actually, any other video hosting platform, so I'm not trying to say, but historically text sales letters will often convert better on mobile because people want to skim through and stuff like that. But that's changed too. It depends on the format, right? Horizontal versus vertical view, a lot of other important elements. So
yeah.
And I think that, just the last note, to me, because you guys are behind, but even in the US, like for example, in 2015 or 16, I wrote like a sales letter for turmeric, right? Which is like obviously a healthy spice. And at the time there was like one other turmeric offer from Cody Bramlett, who I later partnered with for a period of time. But I basically looked at it and it was a very basic sales letter. And I was like, oh, if I bring my DR abilities, right, my direct response copywriting powers here, I bet we can crush it. And then we did. I mean, that thing was doing like 500, 1,000 front ends a day, making $100,000 a day, all that kind of stuff. And then same thing with CBD, right? I'm pretty sure I was like the first person to do like a VSL sales letter for CBD. And that was maybe 2016 or 17. And same thing. I mean, we were doing sometimes 500,000 a day in sales. And there's a bunch of other people doing, short form landing pages and things like that. But often what I found, at least in the US, is, it's a huge opportunity. When you find something that's selling well, but nobody's taking a long form kind of direct response approach to it, that, means you're gonna be the first and you're gonna make a lot of money. And I would imagine, while there may be certain nuances, that it's the same thing in Brazil too.